Hi, this is John from Azeroth Roundtable, and you're listening to Epic Podcast.
This is the beginning and the end.
You're listening to the Epic Podcast Show with your hosts, Lignar, Walmardian,
He told me to tie her up and do whatever I wanted to her. So I took a stereo.
and Medi Cakes.
Do you think the expansion will make me fat?
Enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
Howdy, folks. We are Epic Podcast. We are a podcast for the WoW community. And it is me, Joe Walmardian. We are missing a Medi. Sadly, the storms have swept her away for now. Hopefully she'll join us at some point. And it's also my friend Lig. What's up, Lig?
What's up?
Not much. So glad to be back. Obviously, you guys, I did miss the past couple of weeks with lots of real life stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the Joe free shows, because now I'm back to annoy you.
Oh, well, we were missing. I mean, we were missing the if nothing else, the comic relief.
The comic relief. That's what my dad used to call me, and I didn't even talk back then. Look at that funny little shit wobbling all over there. Yes, good old days. Anyway, so Lig, last week we were thinking about doing this podcast thing.
We thought about it.
We're doing this Wednesdays thing, and then we're like, we've been waiting since November. We've been stretching this thing out since November and trying to find stuff to talk about, and we just kind of were exhausted and didn't have much to talk about. So we said, nah, no show. Tell them what happened after that, Lig.
Not even 10 minutes. Literally,
Blame
not
us.
like we had that email going back and forth for probably an hour or two.
Yeah.
About, are we going to do a show? We're not going to do a show. We're going to do a show. And then we're like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot to talk about. We're all kind of busy. We got a bunch of stuff going on. We like doing the show, but we don't have a lot to talk about. Let's just not have the show. I put on Twitter, hey guys, no show this week, blah, blah, blah. Not 10 minutes later, all three of us are in the alpha.
And then it's like, well, now we have stuff to talk about. I'm like, bullshit, we have stuff to play. Like we gotta get in there and get some information before we can just talk about it. So yeah, that was trippy as hell. I mean, somebody DM'd me that alpha invites were going out. I'm like, what? I really didn't believe it, honestly, at first.
Right, yeah, I didn't either. And then I was like, yeah, whatever. Because, I mean, Chief Vojan's been in the chat room with YouTube stuff, it like basically rickrolling about, about, oh, hey, look, Warlord's Alpha. And he's done that since like February, March.
Okay.
And so like people tweeted, I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I went, like, I didn't get an email until like a couple hours after I actually started playing the alpha.
Right.
And so I went and logged into my account and I'm like, Warlords PTR. Right. Active?
Yeah.
Huh. Then I went and tried to log in because I had pre-downloaded the alpha.
Right, me too.
And it didn't work, yada, yada, yada. I was like, well, what the hell? Yeah, maybe I'm just not in, whatever. And then I got the email. Or then I was talking to Ro, who also got in. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to, because he couldn't get it to work either because he'd done the same thing. And then I just deleted it and re-downloaded it, and it worked. And then I got the email, so...
Yeah, I got the email much later too.
Since unless you're going to object, since we were going to make this a boys trip, since Medi's not around, I might bring in Tetsemi.
It's your call.
All right, let's bring in Tet. It's not letting me add him. That's awesome.
I mean, really, what's funny is like if you don't have any objections, let's bring in Tet. What kind of a dick would I have to be to like no? Well, that really wasn't an option, was it?
I guess it's not an option. Just
because he is
listening.
That?
So
I just was saying, who would do that? Like, no, my show. Who would do that?
Well, I'm just kind of like, I don't even know if Tet is in the alpha, but I figured, why not? We'll have a boys trip.
That's fine. We can definitely have a boys trip. But yeah, we got a lot of alpha to talk about. A lot of alpha.
We do have. But anyway,
that's why I indicated a lot of specific stuff because there's a lot to cover.
Right. So yeah, as far as like, this is where we usually talk about our weekend. Well, for me, it's been a little bit of alpha and a whole lot of real life stuff.
Right.
So, Tet, your mic is all over the place and loud.
And now it's nothing.
And now it's nothing. Yes.
Did he
I
come
mean,
out? Oh, okay. That's be one way to do it.
So, but that's pretty much been my week. Like, I haven't played Heroes, I haven't played Hearthstone since Thursday afternoon, or maybe a little bit Friday morning. I haven't played anything because I've just been real life nonstop.
Yep. Well, I told you a little. I've got the real life stuff going on. I had a couple pet issues here and there, and then my girlfriend's mom had hip surgery, so I've been helping around the house and all of that. So that's been keeping me extremely busy. But of course, yes, alpha. First couple nights in particular, I streamed like crazy, and got a whole lot of footage. Been doing a lot of research into the zone. Lots of rares going on, and there's going to be, it's amazing how there's only one zone open and how much is actually going on in it. We'll get into that more later, but so yeah, all the stuff for the rares guides, all the different footage. When I make these videos for these tests, different the tests, the PTRs and whatever else, I just grab up as much footage as I can, and then I kind of make sense of it in the editing process. So it's just been gathering information and, getting the footage as best I can. My first video did come out yesterday. Yeah. And was co-sponsored by Wowhead, ended up on their blog posts about some of the rares and stuff going on in Frostfire. This one covers a little item called a garrison hat, which actually causes your followers in your garrison to do a conga line behind you, which is pretty fun if you get creative with it. So that video was pretty fun to make. And like I said, there's so much more, but it's so early, I can't make a rares guide quite yet because things can change real readily. So,
right. But
still just gathering all that information, and that's pretty much been my week. I don't think I've touched live at all, and I played a little bit of Hearthstone in there. That's about it. So
yeah, I did live yesterday to see a Valor capped in 8 minutes or something like that.
Oh, did you get that done before the buff went away?
I did.
Nice.
Thanks to I think Tet, who tweeted it saying, "Hey, in 2 hours it goes away." I think it was you that tweeted it. When it Tet?
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, I need to go log in.
Yeah, that needs to. I can't believe that they need to put that back and just leave it at this point.
I agree. So Tet, what have you been up to? You've had this whole Comic-Con thing you've been going to this past.
Yeah, we survived Phoenix Comic-Con. We went 3 days. I took my daughter and her friend to Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, and then all day Saturday, and then we took Sunday off just because they were exhausted and they wanted some Minecraft time. So the two of them hung out playing Minecraft, and I goofed around on WoW, working on one of my alts. But I logged in Tuesday. Yeah, when I was like, because last week Rowan said he had both buffs. So he had the Valor Cap buff and then the double the Valor buff as well.
I did too.
Yeah, when he logged out in Timeless Isle. I didn't get it for some reason. I don't know if I logged out in the wrong spot or what. So this week I got up at like 6 o'clock my time and said, okay, I'm going to get it. Logged in. Sure enough, I'm on the Isle. I have the Valor Cap and the double buff on Tet. So I went over and bought, I think I needed like 2 or 3 of those Valorious Deeds tokens.
Yeah.
And, fired those off. Boom, boom, boom. And went and killed 20 frogs and done. Valor capped in that tune. So I logged in 3 other tunes that were on the Timeless Isle, and they all now had the Valor Cap buff and the Valorious tune. Bought that. So I Valor capped 4 tunes in about half an hour.
Wow. And we lost Joe for some reason. We'll try to get him back here in a second, but yeah, we didn't raid last week. Fert didn't raid because half of the raid team's in Phoenix, and they were going to Phoenix Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Ro just realized he's a mod in the chat room.
Oh no.
I can demote you if you really want, man. That's left over from the marathon, but I'll gladly demote you. And it looks like Joe's back.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know what happened there, but
I don't either. I got the pop up that Skype is having problems with this call, and I'm like, it's Skype, of course it is.
Yeah. I will say this. As much as I enjoyed the, boom Insta Valor cap, I think it actually, and I think Rose said this not on this last realm maintenance, but the previous one, it actually was less of an incentive to play because I logged in, I Valor capped and went, great.
I'm done.
Flew back. What's that?
I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. I flew back to 2 moons, upgraded the 2 pieces that I had slotted to Valor. Thanks to Ask Mr. Robot. They said you should upgrade these 2 items, and logged out of that tune, logged in a couple other tunes, like I said, Valor capped, and I was pretty much done. I went, okay, well, I'll just go do something else then, I guess.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with live WoW this week until tomorrow night, assuming we're actually raiding tomorrow night.
Oh, we are.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we because we actually did the week before. You weren't there on Sunday because we killed.
I was there.
Were you there on Sunday as well?
I was there for the Gary kill.
No. That was Thursday.
Okay. So no, I wasn't there Sunday. No.
Right. So yeah, I didn't want to spoil the if you had that in your news, but yes, we finally took down Gary, thank goodness. And Sunday, we had not gone back to Wings 2 and 3 at all.
In ages.
In ages. And did not realize how overpowered we were.
Oh, yeah.
Or how badly tuned Wing 4 is compared to everything else. I don't know which it is, but we took Wing 2 out in about an hour, right around. I mean, we finished Wing 2, took our break, came back, wiped out Wing 3, and still had 20 minutes left in the raid.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how overpowered we were for it.
Well, people were doing all the upgrades they possibly could to kill Gary, and then we now are OP for the first 3 wings. I mean, how fast did we get through the first wing? I mean,
first wing was like 40 minutes, maybe,
right.
if that.
And that's
but
going slow.
It's just interesting. I know, but it's interesting to see, you've got Wing 1, Wing 2, Wing 3, and then all of a sudden you go to Wing 4, and it still takes us 40 minutes, to get to Gary after clearing out the trash and killing the first 2 bosses,
right?
So that we have time for it. It's just, there's something off that it takes you 40 minutes to get through 2 bosses and trash, where you can do an entire other 4 boss set.
Well, that's true. That's true.
So.
Well, plus you got the 27-minute RP event before the Gary fight.
Yeah, Thrall, just
shut up. Yeah.
Exactly. Where's the skip dialogue box?
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so you guys want to Tet doesn't have a copy of the show notes, but you'll be able to wing it with us, I'm sure. So.
Oh yeah.
You want to go ahead and jump in with it, Joe?
Yeah, that's fine. Of course, I mean, we've got all kinds of alpha stuff. We're going to get a couple other things out of the way that did occur while we were away. Of course, we had the Azeroth Choppers reveal, which, a lot of people, I don't get this. A lot of people, of course, hey, of course it's Horde. We knew this was going to happen. There's some bias or whatever else. Apparently, some theory about multi-votes and stuff like that. I have no idea, but I don't understand the just getting up in arms over a motorcycle thing, reality show, video game, in the game thing, whatever. They're both going to end up in there, and I don't know how it's going to work.
Though.
I think...
And I play both factions, and I really understand.
I know, but I just think it's the right thing to do. I think it's what they had planned anyway, so I'm not too worried about it overall.
I think what you're going to end up with is you'll get the Horde one as like the 10th anniversary, here's your free thanks for Warlords thing, and then the Alliance bike will be in there, and you'll be able to earn it in-game, but it won't be free. It won't be, here's your, bike sitting in the box. It'll be, go do this quest, or pay this amount of gold, or get to level 100, and all of a sudden you get the Alliance bike, or something. I mean, they'll probably put it in, some way.
So you think there's going to be some sort of a barrier, but it's going to be so minimal that it's pointless?
Right, and that's a lot of people are saying it's going to be in the store and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be like that.
Don't mention the store to me. Oh Jesus, we'll get to that later, hopefully, if that's in the show notes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good, because I got a Lignar
probably next.
On that one. No, I think it will be in there. It just won't be. You won't get it for just logging in like you are the Horde bike. There'll be some way of earning it.
That's what I mean. Like the quest chain, but the quest chain will be simple. I don't think it's going to be a green fire like quest chain.
No,
but if they make it too simple, then they may have just given you both bikes. So no, it's not going to be green fire level. But I think there's going to be some, hoops you have to run around and do. Maybe it's go collect this rare item or things like that and take it to your engineering NPC in your garrison, and he gives you the bike.
Nah, I can see that.
Maybe it'll be part of the garrison. Maybe it'll be a garrison unlock in the garrisons that they just haven't found yet.
How much of a kick in the nuts would that be if we could only use them out inside the garrison?
Oh, shut your ass. Now all of a sudden you're like, hey, you got the barracks, you got the alchemy, then you get the mine. Is that you got a garage now in the garrison?
Here's Paul Jr.'s shop in the garrison.
Right. Broomfondle's saying in the chat room that if it has anything to do with anything, people will get up in arms about it, and he's exactly right.
Oh, he's
right.
That
is true. Yeah. That is true. Well, as long if Paul Jr.'s thing becomes in the garrison, that's fine. Just don't get that one dude that looks like who's the I can't even think of the guy's name now. Wee Man. That one dude on the Alliance team, every time I saw him, looked like Wee Man from Jackass. It's like, what? Put a fender on it and shut up. That's all I had to say.
Oh, the other guy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, honestly, and yes, I play Horde, and I played Horde. I started out as Alliance. I played Alliance all through Classic WoW. The Horde bike just looked better. Yes, it's a trike, but it represented the Horde better than the Alliance bike, I think.
Don't think they got the Alliance at all. Their side, I don't think they just never got it. And let's face it, these are motorcycle guys. They're gonna get spikes and all that stuff a lot better, probably.
Well, see, I can take it the other way and say Paul Jr.'s guys. Yeah, they're motorcycle guys, but they're also artists.
I understand that, but I don't think they fully understood. And even when they were talked to about how insect-like that one thing was, the top of it, they didn't solve it as much as they did try. They still didn't solve it.
I think what they were going for is barding on a horse, like what you would do on a war horse.
Right.
And that's what you would do is you would do with the segments. Right. And I think if they'd gotten rid of those awful treads and put wheels on it, it may have come out better. Yeah, it would have been stockier. It wouldn't have been as sleek and as long.
But they could have put freaking knobbies on it, not like four-wheeler tires on it.
Well, what I don't understand is you got two motorcycles and you had one wheel.
Right.
What was there? Why were they all horny? Why did they get hard-ons for freaking treads in that thing?
I don't know.
I don't understand. I really I'm sorry. I play Alliance and Horde, and like Tet said, I started Alliance, so there is that part of me still that always likes them. But that thing looks some kind of tinfoil snowmobile to me.
See, I personally, I didn't get hung up on the tank treads like a lot of people did, but for me, that Alliance I almost said Alliance trike. The Alliance bike looks like something that one of the Stormwind guards might ride around Stormwind. It looked more Stormwind than it did Alliance.
Yeah, it didn't represent, but how are you going to get, I think that's the problem, is how do you get an Alliance representation other than the Lion? How do you get an Alliance representation, whereas people could say, well, you got Horde representation because the Horde is mostly orcs with a smattering representation of the other groups in. And so I think they tried to replicate that with the Horde with the Alliance and said, we're going to pick the biggest representation of the Alliance, which is Stormwind and that. But they could have easily gone with the dwarves as well.
Yeah, well, and there was some representation of the gnomes, like the airbox had the Gnomergon logo on it. There was, I want to say it was the carburetor had an arrow going through it, which you would presume was night elves. Yeah, I don't know. I do think it looked like barding more than or maybe like articulated shoulder plate.
Yeah,
granted huge. Granted, it was huge, but this is WoW, and how big is the shoulder armor in WoW? So. But yeah, I still think people who are saying, I'm going to quit, the Alliance didn't get their bike. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if that's going to cause you to quit, then you've got deeper issues, honestly.
Well, no, I just think you were looking for a reason.
At this point, you can see that all over the place. People are definitely finding different things. And You know, that's fine. Everybody needs a break and whatever from the game. That's perfectly fine. There's more than enough reason to take a break from WoW right now, so that's
Right.
fine.
And
It
actually,
doesn't need to be an excuse.
you know, Chief
Just
Vol'jin, and
take
I
your time.
sorry, I didn't mean to
No, that's
cut you off too bad. Two things. One, Medi's in the chat room, but she's
Right.
not able to Skype. She's on her iPad, so hi, Medi.
Hi, Maddie.
And Chief Vol'jin
Skype
kind
works
of...
on the iPad.
This is true. Chief Vol'jin said in the chat room, it's always human versus orc, so Alliance Horde will always have the human orc looks. And that's true. They actually did say that. The essence of Warcraft is red versus blue, orcs versus human. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how Warcraft started. It was Warcraft, orcs and humans.
Yep.
Maybe if they hadn't gone for the segmented look, do you think? I mean, Lig, you're a bike guy, so you've probably looked at millions of motorcycles. Do you think if they'd gone with a solid fender on the back, but kept it with the, like instead of the chrome or in the chrome, had they done like a solid powder coat blue on it with gold trim, would it have looked any better?
I think the polished look made it look like plate armor. I think that nailed it. Now I think maybe they overdid it with too many segments, or maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they should have had a solid piece on the back and segmented the tank, or vice versa.
Yeah, that probably would. If they'd gone with a solid rear fender and segmented the tank, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I still think it's pretty badass looking. I just think the Horde's a better bike. It has a better bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't like the fact that there's just this bias, of course, because of the faction loyalty. That's fine. I mean, they hyped that up. That was a lot of the whole purpose, was hyping up the faction pride and all. But when it comes right down to it, I just looked at them as bikes, and I just didn't feel like take away Alliance and Horde. I don't feel like the Alliance bike says Warcraft to me. It just didn't feel like a Warcraft.
I can see that too. I can see that.
And I think ultimately I never really thought about it like that, but that's how it could have been, any kind of Knights of Old kind of bike representation. It didn't say WoW to me, whereas you look at the Horde one, it had Horde symbols all over it. Everything was exaggerated and very distinct. I just felt like the Alliance bike was just one big long piece of tape.
And one thing
they get with the shoulder pads, they really got that on the back. Yeah. That's what the trike frame allowed them to accentuate, is those huge shoulder pads. By giving them 3 points on the bike to extend the art, as it were, it gave them room to put shoulder pads on. When you try and go with what they did on the Alliance, there was no room to go with that shoulder pad-esque, so they put it all in the handlebars.
Right. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. The one thing that I hated about both bikes is they were both made for Warcraft fans and Warcraft players. We don't need the faction name spelled out on the side.
Yeah, exactly. That
didn't even bother me. Honestly,
it just
part
annoyed
of it.
Me.
I know, but that was like way down on the list of things that annoyed me about the bikes themselves. I wish they'd done a better Alliance bike, so it was a better race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
that was my frustration.
It would have been better for us as players in the game overall. That if we had, I mean, my thing is, if you show that to anybody else that has no idea what the game is about, they're not going to get interested in it. There's nothing about it that's going to really resonate, I don't think, with them. Whereas you look at the Horde, and of course, like I said, it's at least, if nothing else, it looks like something that would end up at like an Alice Cooper concert or something. So you can you can at least relate to it from that standpoint. You can't quite get a grasp of what that Alliance bike is supposed to be. And for me, just from a Warcraft standpoint, slapping those swords on the front just felt, well, first of all, just from the show standpoint, that felt like just we need something on the front. They have tusks. Let's put swords. That was it just felt like a slap, tap, whatever job.
The thing is I did agree with Paul Jr. on that regard, that they needed something on the front of that bike.
No, I agree, but here's the thing. Think about the airships that the Alliance have. How about that Eagle head or the Griffin head or whatever that they have? Why not that?
That's what I was looking for. Is there should have been a maiden head on the front of that Alliance bike that led them into battle. Honestly, it looks like I would take the Horde bike. out in the desert, out in Duratar, and ride it around, ride it into battle.
Yep.
The Alliance bike, I'd be afraid to take it off the cobblestones of Stormwind.
Well, and that's why people talk about how it's a trike. Well, you know what? Horde, they're going to use that thing to drag giant bunches of cargo across those plains of Duratar. That's the thing.
That's Mad Max.
Exactly, and that's why I get sick of it looks like a tricycle. No, it looks like something they'd actually use.
Well, and the other thing is people, I saw somebody put on Twitter, why is everybody so upset over a mount you're not going to use? Apparently they forgot about that no flying thing for a while.
Exactly.
Is that why they put a riding mount in the store today?
Exactly, and thanks, Tet, man.
Now, doesn't that fly?
You would think you've been on a podcast before.
Because that flies in the video they showed.
The Warforged Nightmare?
But it's a ground mount. Yeah, it actually does fly, but it is a ground mount.
Well, no, absolutely it is. So anyway, yes, that is a perfect segue.
It's almost like Tet's been on a podcast before. Like I said,
like he has the show notes or something. Oh, no,
like I said a couple weeks ago, like he's been on Azeroth Roundtable like 37,000 times. They've only done like 53 episodes, but
it's not that bad.
Half of them.
Half of them? Well, I don't know. I really don't. But it seems like I don't listen to every episode.
But you listen to the ones I'm on. Great.
Apparently, everyone I listen to, you're on. So
enough so we can pick you apart. Apparently.
Anyway, so yeah, excuse me. The Warforged Nightmare is now in the store. That happened just this afternoon.
Yes.
And it is $30, not $25.
Mm-hmm.
And before Tet goes on a Lignar rant, the only thing I could think of for the $5 is gives you a hitch and post where your people in your party can also get that mount and use it for, is it 20 or 30 minutes? I think it's 20 minutes.
That's 20 minutes.
And the hitch and post has a 3-minute cooldown, so it's effectively infinite, but I'm just going to let Tet go because he's a little upset, I think.
What I'm upset about is honestly not the price. I think what honestly upsets me is that Blizzard doesn't understand that perception is reality. And when you put out something like this, when people are already upset about a $25 mount price in the store, and honestly, you can't tell me they could not have put this mount in the store for $25 and thrown in the hitching post and said, hey, we've heard, I realize people would have said, oh, well, you're throwing in the hitching post, it's not worth anything. But that would have been better, I think, perception-wise, with all the delays, even though we got alpha, and the complaints about the price in the shop. Then give the chance, introduce the controversy of, oh, we're going to price it as $30. Well, the mount's $25, so that hitching post toy must be $5. Why would you open yourself to that controversy? Why would you even give them an opportunity to do that? Why not play it safe and just put it in at $25 and throw in the hitching post?
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I really don't know. Is this the first mount they've put in the store since they increased their prices for services overseas?
Yes.
So this could just be they are going to grandfather the prices in the U.S. for mounts, and all mounts from here on are going to be $30 for all we know.
Right, but once again, that's still a Blizzard misstep. Every time that they've had an opportunity to improve, or stay level, they seem to, at least to me, and maybe this is just me seeing it, but they seem to misstep in the wrong direction and change everyone's perception of Blizzard. If that's what, it was the same thing with the $10 price increase on, God, what was it? The alpha, or not the alpha, the expansion.
Yes.
They okay, fine, $10, but you said there was going to be a free boost to 90 in it, and you would think they would have learned it from that controversy. That you can't say it's $30 and we're throwing something in for free. Even if they come out and say, oh, we're adjusting it because we're going to offer it for $30 worldwide and it's just because of inflation, you've got an add-on item. And so people are going to say that's a $25 mount with a $5 add-on item.
I agree with I agree with your logic. I see your point. So if they would have brought in, say, a different mount for $30 and then this one for $30, would people just say, oh, well, they're just raising the prices?
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Okay.
If they had not thrown in this hitching post with a price increase, I think it still would have been received as, oh, now you're charging $30 for a mount instead of where everyone would have said, we want $15, $20 mounts. I think it would have gone over better than you're charging an extra $5 for a hitching post. Really?
Okay, so Broomfondle's saying something in the chat room that said, I'm unwilling to pay $25 for a mount nowadays. Why on earth would I want to spend $30? Mounts aren't worth the money anymore since they all went account wide. I kind of agree. I kind of don't agree. I am more willing to spend real money on it because it is account wide.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go spend $25 on a mount and put him on my priest when, for all I know, Tet's going to tell me in the next expansion that, shit, I got a tank now. I don't know.
Right. And that's, I think the whole account wide thing is, I agree. I'm willing to pay a little bit more real money because it is account wide, at least. And again, that's my personal thing. I just think this was I think they just didn't think this through with the perception of how it was going to be received.
No, and I think you're probably right. They probably didn't think about it too much. And my previous comment, I've never paid for a mount except for as a gift. I've never bought a mount for myself. So I do have a few that people have given me, but I've never bought a mount for myself. So I would still be more willing, now that they are account wide, to buy one. I get that they're maybe not worth as much because all of your other mounts that you already have are account wide. I get that. But I don't know. Like this one, it's a really cool looking mount. We talked earlier, like I was in game for 20 minutes to Valor Cap. I haven't seen it yet because it just went live today. I haven't logged in yet today. Probably won't. But I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure somebody on the raid team is going to have it. I'm sure. So I'll probably see it Sunday night or tomorrow night rather. So yeah, I'm kind of curious. I don't know. Like I agree with what your perception is reality thing, and people assuming that they could have just sold a hitching post for $5. I don't know.
Well, not that they could have sold it for $5.
But they're charging $5 more for the hitching post.
They're charging $5 more for a mount plus something, regardless of what it was. And if that is not what they intended, if they were actually, like you said, we're raising prices and mounts going forward are going to be $30, then
they probably should. If that was going to be the case, they probably should have announced it and said, yes. Hey, we're grandfathering the old stuff. New mounts from here on are going to be $30. But they typically don't announce that kind of stuff. They just do it.
Which is to their detriment, I think.
I agree. I think for the most part, I agree. So I don't know. Anyway,
and yes, Medi, I did see Eos's comment, and I completely understand why. So
I did not see Eos's comment.
He basically said he has canceled WoW for now, and his reason was he was not going to pay them $15 a month to update the store, which is another issue that people have had. Okay, you had this contest. You said, here's the mount that we're going to get with Azeroth Choppers. We're not going to get that till Warlords comes out. And in the meantime, oh, by the way, here's a $30 mount in the store. And I understand a $30 mount in the store is not new content, but it's not the same level.
Right.
As frustrating as it is during this lull of content in the live game, yes, we have the alpha and we have people streaming it that we can go see it. I understand some people are going to perceive a $30 mount as a kick in the face as far as their subscribers. So I understand that, but it's frustrating that that's what we got.
Right. No, and that makes total sense. But do we want to bitch more about the mount?
I think
we're good.
I think the horse is dead. So
yeah, exactly.
And
just so you know, last comment, I have bought every mount in the store or been given. I think I've gotten one or two mounts from people in the store. This one, I can't justify $30 for. Sorry.
Yeah.
If there were a charity attached to it and they were going to give $10, $15 to the charity, yeah, I'd consider it. But I can't justify $30 for the mount.
And here's the problem. The problem I have with I think the only time I've ever spent money in the store for pets and mounts is either as a gift or if it was a charity. That's the only time I've ever done it. Like I think I've sent, I don't know how many pets over to Medi as a gift. And other people, like I've bought them for giveaways on the podcast, that kind of stuff. I think I still got some Cinder Kittens laying around, which everybody's got 7 of them now. But I guess my thing is looking at it from like a manufacturing standpoint, and I'm putting air quotes around manufacturing. This, like, as they sell units, like, profit margin goes to infinity. Because it's absurd, and that's why I typically don't spend money on the stores, because it's not that I'm against Blizzard making money. It's just, it seems like it's just not worth my money for it, just because, even though I said that earlier about they're worth more money because they're account wide, I've got enough mounts. I've got like 180 mounts. I really don't need any more.
Well, especially with and I realize this is a wild podcast, but honestly, I have $30. The Steam sale, the Steam summer sale is coming up. You can't tell me that $30
isn't going to buy you 25 games.
Isn't going to buy me at least 2 other complete games that I'm going to get 10 to 12 hours per game out of, depending on how I spend my money. Yes, I have the mount forever, but I got the games forever too.
Right.
You know, and that's new content, not something new to look at in game that I can pull out, ride around, and put away when I'm done. I think that's where the frustration level comes in, is we see the alpha in the state it's in that they've given us, and don't anyone get wrong, this is a true alpha by the number of crashes and everything. This isn't a polished beta that they are shipping as an alpha. This is a true alpha. And I think that frustration with seeing the game in the shape it's in now, along with this coming out, just wow. PR nightmare.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to segue into talking about the alpha.
Yep.
But you're right. It is a true alpha. Lots of crashes, lots of DCs. It's more like I still think the Heroes alpha. It's still an alpha. For Blizzard, anybody else's beta.
Correct, and that's what I meant. That's what I meant. For anyone else, that Heroes Alpha is a beta. For anyone else.
Right. For Blizzard, it's still an alpha. There's still quite a few bugs in it. They're wildly redesigning the heroes in some cases. So, but Warlords, it is very much an alpha. Shit, Hulk Hogan's walking around right outside your garrison.
Yeah. I mean, and does that not concern you, seeing the shape it's in?
Yes and no. I guess as long as, like, Joe, you were saying in the pre-show that, is it next week it's going to be Shadow Moon?
They didn't say. It's got the typical soon TM on it.
Okay. So something that, and I don't remember off the top of my head who it was, I did see on Twitter today, something that does concern me is how important garrisons are going to be with the leveling process. And they said on Twitter, and I'm sorry, I really can't remember who it was, but basically, you get a quest chain. If you build your barracks too early, it can bug out your entire garrison.
Yeah, that was, I want to say Russ Peterson, but that's not the right name.
But yeah, it was actually.
Was it? Yeah, I think so.
But
yeah, he basically said don't build them, and he said only build the barracks, because if you build any other building, we can't guarantee they're going to work.
Right. He said, and it's not an exact quote, but I know the phrase is correct. He said, don't build the barracks until you get the quest to do it, and if you build anything after that, it's the wild, wild west as far as functionality is concerned.
That was Russ Peterson. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like even at the, no, I built the alchemy building, and I cannot interact with and then I get a quest to give her something to do, and I cannot interact with her. I get a Lua error.
It's fixed now on the latest build.
Oh, okay, good.
But it was doing that to me too.
And so it's an alpha. Like,
yeah, it's very much an alpha. But I mean, I'll say this much: the people that did kind of stream stuff that they shouldn't have initially, I did poke my head in from time to time while I was in the process of trying to get them banned. But I did watch some of the streams and stuff. Some of the stuff that was being shown of the different zones and stuff, those were very much not even close to being done. Entire buildings not in.
But that just means it's not in the build that we have.
No. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, you think this is? I mean, and that wasn't that long ago. I think they're fine. I mean, I think we've got the other servers where they're testing the level 100 stuff. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
they just
layers
announced
to
that
this.
today.
Yeah.
The level
Well,
100
they have
PvP stuff.
PvE and they've had the PvP stuff. They've been doing that for a while now. So
See-
that's how they're trying to get this whole thing, done.
Medi just said in the chat room that at BlizzCon it felt a bit more finished than what it seems now in Alpha. I'm not sure I agree with that, and I wish she was actually able to join us and tell us what she means. Although, granted, I did not play Frostfire at BlizzCon.
See, I
played Shadow Moon. So
yeah, see, I played for Frostfire, and this is much more finished. Much more finished, because I mean, when you did it in BlizzCon, it started you out like right at the what is that called? The big building, this fortress, Blightspire Fortress. You started right there where you go in and start killing ogres and stuff to clear it out. You didn't do all the garrison stuff that you have here and all the lead up to that. And even then, the area looked a lot less polished than it does now. So I don't know what Shadow Moon was like, but this is a ton better than what it was at BlizzCon.
Yeah, Shadow Moon started you. I'm not sure exactly. I think you started basically. I don't remember the old name of it, but you started Black Temple.
Karabor, yeah.
Yeah,
Karabor.
and you've got Valen there giving you a quest to basically go kill orcs. Because they're trying to invade, and you're trying to get a foothold and secure the place. I didn't do much. I just did a few quests and then said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go run around," and that's basically what I did at BlizzCon.
Right.
So I'm kind of, because I didn't want to ruin any of the story. Like, I didn't mind with Miss of Pandaria. It's like, okay, I can go quest through the island, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to do many quests at BlizzCon this time. I just wanted to go explore. And if you got too far away from where you started, there was no NPCs, or the NPCs were just so OP that they just killed you. Like, bam, dead.
Yeah.
So. But like Aeon said that he just went on one direction at BlizzCon, and he got to a point to where the ground actually said blah 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 texture here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think I saw in a couple streams where the ogre belts in that first fortress that you're clearing out was the checkered square pattern.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like
a texture needs to go here. But Medi brings up the point. She says it's December 6 months away, and we're only in a very buggy alpha. How far till beta? Now, I realize that they have other builds, and not seeing the show notes, do you want to even go anywhere near the release of the alpha and the timing with WildStar?
I think it's a complete coincidence. I always think it's coincidence. That
Okay.
might sound like Blizzard fanboy, but
my concern is they rushed out a build that they probably had for internal testing to coincide with some date that they wanted to release it on, and it just happened to be at the same time WildStar is. And then once they got through that period and everything kind of calmed down, then they released a more polished but still buggy version with some of the character changes in, and like they said today, we're only halfway through the class changes and stuff, so don't take anything you're seeing in the alpha as permanent or this is how it's going to be. I just, coincidence or not, again, it's perception.
no, I agree that it's perception, but somebody at Blizzard said, and having been in Tet, I know you've been involved in them, and Joe, I know you've been involved in them. I've been involved in some big projects before, and somebody on Twitter, I don't think it was Celestalon, but I don't remember who it was, said, it amazes me how people believe we can time the release of a build on the efforts of another company.
Except that they have a track record of doing
True,
exactly.
they do.
You can't tell me, if you go back to every single release of a major competitor game, that there has not been something from Blizzard. Which, again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying every time, Star Wars came out, they released something. ESO came out. Did they do anything for ESO? I guess that's my
I don't
question.
think so.
I think ESO may have been the only one they didn't do this on.
Joe's clearing his throat. Joe, what did they do?
Well, no, that wasn't really intentional,
okay.
but
It sounded intentional.
Well, I know, but no. I mean, my thought is, honestly, I don't see what the big deal is. If it's anything, it's just the cost of doing business. If it's anything, other than that, I don't see what what does it matter? It doesn't hurt anybody. If people want to play WildStar, if people want to try this, people want to. I know, obviously, the biggest thing is getting the attention of, say, streamers that would normally be doing WildStar and try and get them to be doing the alpha instead, and that kind of thing. But that's the cost of doing business. I don't know why it personally matters to me. I don't know why some people get so up in arms about. I mean, I saw tweets about saying how this was a douchebag move on Blizzard's part. I don't understand that thought process, because
it's just somebody that wants to hate on Blizzard, because part of me wants to say, do you really believe that these devs don't want to go play WildStar themselves? Because I guarantee you a lot of them want to, and a lot of them are.
And they're tweeting about it, so I don't even think there's like a big secret or anything.
I guess here's my question though. Would Blizzard, and I realize, again, we're talking perception, but would Blizzard have been better off holding this for 2-3 more weeks and released a more polished version of this rather than releasing what they had at the time? I guess that's what I'm saying is, yeah, it's full of crashes and bugs and things like that, and they are iterating on that and releasing new things. But might they have been better off holding back 2-3 weeks and releasing it like this week as opposed to during that launch, so that they had a better version?
It depends on what the purpose of the alpha release is. If you're talking about it from a PR and public perception standpoint, yeah. If you're talking about it from a testing standpoint, no.
Right, and that's where my concern is. Are they just ignoring everyone's perception of their company because they've got all these subscribers? I guess that's my concern, is they seem to be doing, as time goes on, they're doing some PR better, but they're also doing a lot worse.
I think I don't know. I kind of think when it comes to when they release an alpha or a beta, I think they kind of don't care about public perception, because they're that company that the games speak for themselves, and they're going to sell a buttload of these things. They know they're going to sell a buttload of them. Let people bitch now, and then when Warlords comes out, they're still going to sell. I guarantee you, they will sell 2.5 million copies of this at launch. And that's
I understand that, and that's what I'm saying is, so they could have afforded to wait 2 to 3 weeks for the testing of this to release it when it was a Blizzard quality release, as opposed to.
I still think that this is a Blizzard quality alpha.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this.
I think what we see is the Heroes of the Storm alpha now. Like I've been in for a while, but I was a month or 6 weeks late, quote unquote. But I was a month or 6 weeks after it came out getting in, and when I got in, I'm like, okay, so this is buggy, this is buggy, this is buggy, but and then I was in Infinite Crisis beta that I'm not supposed to talk about, and I don't give a shit. Take me out of it.
There we go.
And they're about the same, right? I've been in alphas for other MMOs. This is way better than those other MMOs that are in alpha. Way better. As far as, and I'm not even saying better as in fun. I mean just better as in it's less buggy, it crashes less. I think a lot of people got spoiled with the Miss Pandaria beta and how they had to get 1 million people in, and they knew they couldn't put something like this out to that 1 million plus people.
Right.
Oh no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think a lot of people got spoiled on that, and the public perception, giving that this is an alpha and there's no NDA on it, I think maybe it is a bad thing PR wise, but it's because of Mists and the annual pass, not because of what it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, a lot of people were saying that alpha is the new beta and everything else, but I think this is the clear, as much as that's somewhat true, it maybe feels that way with Heroes. This is definitely an alpha. There's no doubt about it.
And Blizzard has said they're not going to have 1 million people in beta like they did for Mist. This is going to be a much smaller testing group.
Absolutely.
So,
and I like the fact that they have who they have in here, because a lot of us. Really, I mean, like, I'm thinking more in particular of like Perculia from Wildhead, who's gonna really check into every nook and cranny of this thing. I mean, a lot of people don't understand what she does. Yes, she gets her data mining stuff and everything else, but she sits there in the game and goes through everything that we're going to be doing in live because we're doing it for fun and everything else. She does everything that we're going to end up doing, and she's doing it for the site, and she takes record of everything. She's testing everything. She's informing Blizzard of what's working and what's not. It's neat to see that sort of work going on, and that's why I think a lot of people got chose for this. Besides the fact, of course, there's going to be blatant, advertising being done.
Well, I think the whole controversy over who got picked is just come on. If you didn't see it from Hearthstone, if you didn't see it from Heroes, come on, you're not paying attention.
Hey, I never got into
a pure PR.
Yeah, but I never got into the Reaper of Souls beta.
I didn't either.
No, I didn't either. But again, the perception, I think they were putting their eggs more on, Heroes and now the alpha. So I think that's their PR move of who they released it to, and I understand that. And I just need to put a small disclaimer on this. Realize that I go back to dealing with John Smedley and Sony and EverQuest before Sony bought EverQuest. So when I come in a little jaded, it's because I've been dealing with developer and that community from their side, the PR representation from back in original EverQuest days before the 30 expansions that they've released now.
Yeah, something like that.
So, consider me a little bit jaded when I come to how perception is reality when dealing with this. But yeah, you make good points about the alpha. And it's not that I'm frustrated I'm not in. It's just I expected at this time, with how long Siege has been out, to be much further along in what they're showing to the public.
I actually fully agree with you on that. But we don't. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like right now, the alpha, they wanted a focus on testing Frostfire, and they're going to be able to take a lot of that data and apply it to testing Shadowmoon. Especially when it comes to the garrisons, right? I mean, the functionality is the same. So I think they just wanted to focus the testing, and I fully agree. Perception, reality, I get that, and that's not just with games. That's life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of wish we were further along, but I don't know that it's fair for them to say, they want a focus group right now, and they want that focus group on this zone, and I don't know that it's fair for us to say they're not far along in development because this is all we have. Well, no, that's what they want us to play right now. That's what they want to test. And you don't, when you're testing something, you don't just say, here's the entire thing, go crazy. You say, let's test this.
Yeah, but we're still seeing a lot of hiccups with this, and that's where it's coming from. And again, like I said, not long ago, I saw the stuff I wasn't supposed to see because people were doing it, breaking the NDA or whatever. But I think the concern for me, and the thing that I keep thinking about more than anything else, isn't so much that, oh my God, it's going to be December, we got 6 months and everything else. My question has always been, what took so long? What's happened? Where did things... I don't think they wanted to wait this long before they had public testing. I still, and then now that I've gotten to the alpha and I played it a little bit, seeing how garrisons have changed from BlizzCon and how they are changed in terms of how integrated they are to the leveling experience, not only in these initial little bits, but it's pretty much going to be your main hub and everything else. I don't care about the main city and everything else. It's your main hub. You are like, a commander. They even call you got Sarfang in your garrison calling you commander. You are like leading the charge here to a degree into Draenor. So I think there was a big switch. I think the way they were doing garrisons before is like a side thing. They put it more front and center. I think that is one of the things that really changed everything and put them back a bit. I could be completely wrong. No, that's the kind of stuff that I think about more than anything else. Not what the results are going to be. I'm curious as to how it got to this point.
Well, and I'm wondering, did they almost have another Path of the Titans moment and realize, crap, we've got to make this work. We can't we can't have another Path of the Titans moment.
I kind of think they did, and that was Garrisons. Garrisons
Yeah.
have become much more integrated into the experience than what they were originally intended. They were supposed to be player housing on steroids.
Yep, exactly. I was really surprised when I logged. I was really surprised when they logged into the alpha, and all of a sudden the whole first part of your quest is build your garrison.
Yeah, it's like the third quest you get?
Well, no, from the get go, you put your banner down, and then you go start.
Well, yeah, but you got to go meet so and so, and then you got to go.
Oh well, okay. If you want to count the breadcrumbs, come on now.
But yeah, so actually, I like what Chief Ojin's saying is that the artists and animators were busy putting mounts in the store. Is what held them up.
This is why we don't have another raid tier. God, I hate that meme.
Right.
But
hey, can we invite Medi to the guys trip because she's in Skype now?
Oh, absolutely. Get her in here.
All right, here she is. All right. So anyway, while she's answering the phone here,
we got 4 minutes.
That's all right.
Crap.
And we haven't touched hardly any of what we want to talk about.
That's all right. But we've had a good time talking.
Well, we've got a long bit of alpha to talk about for months.
Yeah, we do, and hopefully it's not months of alpha.
Yeah, that's
I'll guarantee
the
it's
concern.
Months. Well, they might technically be months, but hopefully it's 2. But yeah, so Medi just spoiled the boys' trip.
Aww.
I guess I spoiled it because I invited her to the call.
Freaking chicks. Seriously,
I think it's the raid team call Medi, isn't it?
The what?
Boobies.
So
that's what she said.
I'm glad Medi is alive. Apparently there were some pretty vicious storms rolling through her area. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So like we didn't talk about 3 or 4 of the things we had in here about the alpha, but like Joe said, we got plenty of time to talk about stuff in the alpha, and God knows we could talk about it tonight, next week. None of that shit's there, and it's all different now. So.
Exactly. So I want to hear Medi's take on what she's seen so far.
I do too.
To be honest, I haven't really seen that much. It's like I've been wanting something to do, and I was like, oh, I hope that I do get into the alpha because I want to, test out the holy side and maybe even a red, which I have, and that the red side is a little bit fun. But it's like as far as garrisons, I've done a couple quests to get followers and sent them out on some missions, which I'm still kind of confused about missions. I'm like, really, if that's all that I'm going to do is just send out people and get free stuff? I mean, that's not really fun to me.
It's not fun, but I'm going to do it to get the free shit.
Yeah.
Did you play around with the armor switching at all to see if your armor, how the stat switch worked and stuff like that?
Very briefly, I went to Orgbar because I had to train dual spec, and as soon as because they gave you gear for all 3 specs, right?
Right.
And they only gave you trinkets and a cloak and weapon and shield for holy. So all I did was just I made an armor set, right. And I replaced those, and as soon as I switched specs and I switched sets, it all went to intellect, and I was like, oh, this is pretty crafty, pretty nifty.
And honestly, that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. I know.
See, I'm not looking forward to it because then you'll be able to tell me to heal in raid.
No, but that's honestly what I'm looking for, is because one of our biggest issues right now has been, and again, I'm saying this on a podcast, I don't think we'd ever say this. We had too many healers. We had too many healers in the raid team, and gearing up somebody that's normally primarily healer to get them to go DPS is a lot of work right now.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, yeah, you got 6 months. What else are you going to do? That's not the point. Even if we'd done it in the first 3 months and realized we were healer heavy, I think this one feature is going to help a lot of raid teams be more flexible with, we're healer heavy or we need an extra healer. Can you flip your shaman over? Well, I don't have all the gear. You've got most of the gear.
Not only that, Ted. Think of it. I know there weren't any in Siege of Orgrimmar, but think about it from a tanking perspective, where you get that one tank fight. Then it's like, who's got the better DPS set? Well, now if you're both relatively equal in your tanking set, you both have relatively even DPS set.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and thankfully, they've promised no more one tank fights. So.
I kind of dug those though.
Hey, you know what? It's so nice to come back and get steamrolled again.
Hey,
on this boys trip.
Welcome back.
Hey,
thanks.
Did you have fun? I gotta ask. Did you have fun Sunday just blowing up Wings 2 and 3?
Yes. Oh my God, yes. I did.
So what are we gonna do? We can talk about that later. Anyway, so Medi, you're talking about getting steamrolled. So go ahead and what were you going to say that we rolled over?
As far as like questing just went along like normal. I didn't find anything terribly exciting about having to go kill 5 of these and then rescuing this person and then going and killing 10 more of these.
Yeah, questing's questing.
Yeah, typical. I do like the bonus missions.
You're talking about is that the ones that's like the crossed swords on the minimap?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I dig those too. I only found one, but yeah, I dug it.
Yeah, I mean, there's bonus missions all over the place. I really like that. So it kind of distracted me from my normal questing, but it gave me something to do if I got tired of doing the normal questing.
Yeah.
I haven't had...
Sorry, well, I was going to go on those. I'm just kind of curious if those are repeatable at all. Like on a weekly basis or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
I know. I think Rose said that they killed a rare, and then once they killed the rare, it went back to just a normal mob.
Yeah.
But I don't know if. Yeah, but I don't know if that's just so people don't camp it.
That is part of the point. Yeah, I talked to now I can't think of his name. Oh shoot! But I talked to him on Twitter, and basically what's happening with the rares in this expansion is there are going to be leveling rares, which is what we're talking about now, where you're going to kill it once, and the purpose of them flipping is that they don't get camped. They're there for the XP and stuff for that first time, and then rather than have level 100s come over and whatever else, you're going to have those there for people that are leveling for the XP and the gear drop that they actually do.
So are those kind of phased in a way then?
They're not phased. They just flip to normal elites after, or even in one case, a normal regular mob, and they just aren't beneficial for you to kill anymore. They're not rare. They're not going to give you special loot. There's not going to be anything significant. So you basically just get the rare kill off of it one time, and the next time there's really not any point to killing it. So it does leave it available for other people to get the extra bonuses off of it. It's supposed to discourage people that aren't leveling from killing it multiple times, like Jet was saying. So there's
it's almost like a timeless isle chest. You use it once and you're done.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you could tell if you've done Frostfire, you've seen some Frostfire. This the whole thing. And I've said this at the time, and I was going to bring this up. I don't know how much time we have now, but when we went from dailies to the Timeless Isle, a lot of people went, "Oh my God, it's just like a total shift. It's not like any happy medium. It's a giant step from the other direction." And I said, it's probably because they're trying to see how we're going to react. It's probably they're checking it out and seeing. And lo and behold, if you look, Frostfire has a ton of Timeless Isle kind of feel to it. There's tons of little events, tons of rares. There's tons of like the bonus objectives are somewhat like that, but some people are going to say they're Wildstar influenced because there is that sort of thing that occurs in there.
I think when it comes to that design shift from tons of dailies to Timeless Isle type, it's just like anything else where they go from dungeons and raids are really hard to dungeons and raids aren't so hard, and they go, it's like they overcorrect, and we all know that, and I think they know that too. So I think that's why the Timeless Isle is as much like. This is going to sound stupid. The Timeless Isle is as much like the Timeless Isle as it is right now, because I think it was such a far shift, and I think they kind of did it on purpose to kind of prepare us for coming back to where we are right now with Frostfire in the alpha.
Well, I think, like I said, I think they did it because they wanted to see how it would work and see how we would react to it. It was definitely a response to the dailies, but they also wanted to test it in a way to have a more perfected version for the entirety of this expansion, because I almost guarantee every zone's going to be like this. And it's neat to me because, again, we're going off and exploring. We don't have the general like breadcrumb quest to take you from here and there. You're getting a lot of quests. There's a lot of quests around here that you'll find just wandering around. You won't get them by being sent to them. This is definitely one way to get people into the world, not just being told to go there because you're going to get some reward, but just because of curiosity, just because you want to check out every nook and cranny. And I don't know how much of that contingent is out there in this game, but I believe that there's a big contingent. I believe that's a lot of what we want to do in this game. So
I'm kind of sitting the fence on that. Like I want, like as far as any story they're going to tell me, I want that breadcrumb. I don't want to have to go find that hidden thing over there. And
the stories will be like that.
Yeah, and they've said that they're going to kind of do that, but there are places so far that I've quested to and I've made it to 92, and then real life kicked in and I haven't been able to play for a few days. But so far where I've been, like I went places in Frostfire where I didn't have a quest that sent me there. I just went there. Right. And the quest had me going in the complete opposite direction. So for all I know, the main quest chain, as far as I can tell, is not going to involve some of the quests that I've already done. And I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to it.
I think what you're talking about is replayability. Because
exactly.
You're going to have your main, and depending on how you play, you're going to want to get that main to 100, typically as fast as you can, because you want to see the end game stuff. But your other characters that you bring along are probably going to see a whole bunch of stuff that your main never saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
And they're there if you want them, and they're not necessary, and that's the whole point. There's still a lot of us that like to just kind of, and I've missed. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about this actually, and we're talking about the random stuff that you're finding, not only the quest, but all the events and the rares and stuff like that all over the place. I've missed, honestly, and I've been playing a little bit of WildStar. This has been a big thing that's come back to me. I miss not knowing what the hell I'm doing in World of Warcraft. I know too much about the game, and what's not even what I do know about Kalimdor, where to go from this, that, and the other. When it comes to even new dungeons and everything else, there's always a video out there instantly, and we all know the fight because we've seen it 1,000 times. There's no just wandering in and trying stuff anymore, and that's what I like about this. Is it's giving those of us that love that thing, that aspect of it, is an excuse to go wandering and go to places that we don't have to go, or we don't feel compelled to go because we're supposed to go for leveling purposes, whatever else. We can just wander again and not know where we're going and not know what we're going to find when we turn a corner. And I think I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, I think the person that does and I can't think of his name, I apologize. The person that does Warcraft Less Traveled,
Skolnick,
Skolnick is going to have a field day with this.
If the dude ever gets the time to play this expansion, his real life job is just kicking his butt right now, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I don't know. Does any? I mean, we are kind of going long, but that's fine. We didn't have a show last week, and I don't mind going a little long. But do you guys? Is there anything else you guys want to add about what we've seen from the alpha? We know the next zone they're going to open up for us is going to be Shadow Moon, which means I'm assuming it's going to be Shadow Moon only. That's kind of what you said, right, Joe?
Yes, yeah. They're going to shut down a Horde side completely, just like they're doing with Alliance this time.
So I'm kind of curious if they're going to delete our Horde tunes that we have there now.
I don't know if they'll delete them, although it could be that they just delete them and you just can't log in. But at this point, you can't even create an Alliance character either, so they may just wipe.
Hell, at this point. Well, at this point, I would say at this point, I'm not sure. On Wednesday, you can create a Pandaren character. It told me character creation was disabled because I tried to create a second character. I'm like, what the hell, really? So then I made him a troll and it worked.
Okay.
So, yeah, it is odd.
We'll see, but I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, Frostfire is all well and good, but there's a lot more that we know about Shadow Moon, obviously, and I want to see. I want to see that whole thing. I didn't get to do it at BlizzCon, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so honestly, so Tet, you're not in Alpha, right?
correct. I've just been living vicariously through, watching like Olivia Grace stream
Right.
and play her shaman and that sort of thing. So yeah, I've been watching the streams just to kind of get an idea of how far along everything is and following MMO Champion and Wowhead and reading that stuff.
Right. So Joe and Medi, outside of the D season, the occasional crash, which honestly, Miss Beta has crashed for me more. It crashed for me more back in the day than this has crashed for me. So outside of those few things, is there anything you look at Frostfire and be like, oh, this is obviously alpha?
I haven't.
Medi?
I think it's looking good.
No. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's like you said, besides the typical
Alpha's
crashes
alpha.
and the graphic bugs, oh my god.
I have run into a few
Right.
graphics bugs, yeah.
Well, there's one
the-
section in particular, but that's been fixed.
Good,
And the
because I want to go play with it.
Rollster.
Is that where
The Rockster,
the
yeah,
Rockster?
well,
Yeah.
yeah, those little placeholders and stuff like that. And there's things, right? Like right now, there's of course, I do the rares and stuff, but they have these little events now that they're very timeless. I like that are called vignettes, and there is an achievement for completing all the vignettes. At this point, I don't know anybody that has more than the 4 that I have now. It seems like the other 4 are probably not implemented yet. So there's still little things like that. Of course, you talked about how the alchemy building and the garrison isn't functioning right, like that kind of stuff. But other than that, in terms of like the graphic polish and everything, I haven't seen anything that really says
I haven't seen any blue and white cubes anywhere.
No, I haven't either.
No.
Now, Bladespire Fortress does seem it seems paltry in there compared to what it should be if that's our main hub. There's nothing in there at all. There's no banks or anything like that. So I have a feeling that might change.
And that's
I don't know how
relatively
to
quick to add, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. So otherwise I don't see that as like I said, I still see the garrison's going to be your main city.
Especially since
Really.
it's got a portal back to Orgrimmar
Exactly.
or Stormwind. So
You did touch on one thing that I don't know if it's a concern of yours or not, but the fact that they're talking about fixing or redoing some of the professions as far as leveling them up. I know they finally fixed skinning, so skinning is going to be like mining and herbing, where you can do it at level 90, 91, even if you're starting from 1, and it'll work now. They said that that's going forward, but I'm thinking, with how much they took enchants away, they're changing jewel crafting, they're, changing other stuff. Have you guys seen any of that change yet, or are they still locked you at the current profession level?
I haven't looked, but I did see on Twitter today that, and I rejoiced at this because I have a shaman alt has inscription, and they're getting rid of the 1-day cooldown for your research.
Right, I saw that. That's awesome.
And yeah, because I'm like, I spent probably 2.5 months logging into that dude just to do the 3 different researches because he hasn't been learning them all along. I rolled him in Cataclysm. So I had, the BC, Wrath, and Cataclysmic research to all do. And then, then Mist came out and I had to do that. Hopefully they get rid of all of that kind of thing. I don't know if... I don't want them to get rid of necessarily the daily cooldown for the crafting mats that tailoring has and that sort of thing.
Well, I think they're shifting that to the garrison. Is that
Probably.
Instead of you having to do it, like you give the materials to the garrison or have the garrison collected, and it makes that daily. Which is, I'm fine with that. Great, that's one less thing I have to worry about. But my concern, having run the craft fair, is if you look at like vanilla and BC leveling for profession versus higher than that, there's a huge difference in that. And you talk about somebody that's brand new to the game trying to start a profession now. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, hopefully they do something. I said do. Hopefully they do something for people new to the game, and they make, especially gathering professions, crafting professions. I'm not sure what they can do. They did a catch up at when we got the Isle of Thunder. There was a catch up mechanism for blacksmithing, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to fill in gaps where like, oh, I don't want to go spend this time waiting for this drop, so I'll go spend 200 ghost iron bars and get these, 5-10 points that I need because I can get those faster than I can get the materials, which is fine. If they would do that for other professions, that's at least reasonable.
Right, and I think they will, but I haven't looked at professions. The thing is, in alpha right now, like I know Medi mentioned it on Twitter, I picked up a thing that was as a scroll of some kind that was whatever of alchemy, and I just read the scroll and I had 600 alchemy. Now, granted, the name of it says temp.
Right.
So it may not be. It may just be there for testing an alpha, just to give you 600. You know, the little quick mechanism they put in to give you a profession real quick. But they may put something like that in. I don't know. Maybe.
If they get you the skill like they do with the Insta 90s that start at 60, where you get the skill but you don't know any of the recipes, and you've got to go back and either buy them from the trainer or go get the mob drops. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would be fine with that too. So you can start at 600 and learn everything from there on. But anything before that, if you want it, you got to go get it. You know, whatever. I think they ought to do that. I don't know how they'll do that. Maybe make it a gold sync, but I think that's unfair to a new player. I don't know. I'm sure they have an idea. We just haven't seen it yet. I hope they have an idea. Because I agree. Unless you're in a guild like AIE or CTR, I don't know that CTR does a craft fair, but I'm pretty sure they do something similar. Unless you're in a guild,
they do a first aid fair. I've seen that.
Right.
But I saw at least on a couple forum posts that they were asked, why don't you do a craft fair, or have you thought about craft fair? And they said, yeah, the level of organization and effort to go into it is huge.
Yeah. But, I mean, unless you're in one of those guilds that they're going to do something like that, and I guess it sounds like AIE is about the only one that does that, at least on the scale that AIE does, you're kind of screwed. Which
you are. I have an alliance tune that I'm leveling up, and I'm leveling up mining and jewel crafting on him from level 1, and it is painful.
Yeah. So, well, we brought Medi in here, and she's been really quiet for a while.
Hi.
It sounds like you're having an allergy fit on top of your storms.
I was.
Oh my.
I just did a sneezing fit.
Nice.
Aww.
So, do we want to wrap it up? We've gone a little long. We've gone like 20 minutes long here. So
yeah, we need to save some of this. We don't want to, blow our wad all in one shot.
Oh,
that's
gosh.
what she said. See, just like Raid. It's just like Raid. There's 3 of us here from Raid, so.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm the which one of these does not belong.
Oh, whatever.
That's fine. That's all right.
That would be me. You're the host. I'm the cast. I'll get out of here.
No.
So anyway, we did this thing where we were going to, we had this whole big straw poll thing with Joe's boosted 90, and we picked a class and a race, and we picked a sex and everything, and we were supposed to pick a name. A person to name, we're supposed to pick a winner to name this tune during the marathon, and we all, including you guys, forgot.
Yep.
And we still don't really know what we're going to do for that. We haven't totally forgotten. Like Joe hit me up. I think it was Monday you hit me up on Skype, or maybe it was even Sunday afternoon.
I think it was Sunday afternoon.
And it was
like right after it ended.
It's like, dude, we forgot something pretty big for the marathon. I'm like, what? Did the widget not actually hook up to Child's Play? What? And then it was naming the tune. I'm like, okay, so I didn't have a heart attack, but that's pretty big.
That was.
So because we hyped it up for months. So we're still trying to figure out how we're going to pick something. We've got a couple ideas. Joe and I kicked around some ideas back and forth a couple weeks ago, actually, before real life kicked in for both of us. Maybe we can the 3 of us can kind of touch base on how we want to do that. I kind of like some of the stuff we talked about, but I'll tell you what, executive decision, by next week we will have an announcement on how we're going to pick this. You guys okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, I made the executive decision and then made sure they're okay, so shows how much power I have.
Woohoo!
So yeah, just to let you guys know, we totally, we had a bunch of shit going on during the marathon, and that just kind of slipped our minds. So anyway, I don't think we have anything for our typical recount segment. So Joe, you want to go ahead and tell people how to get a hold of us? Or is Katie going to tell people how to get a hold of us?
Oh, no.
Just going to be Joe? Okay.
No, Katie apparently went to Honduras, and so she's having fun in Honduras, although I still think that she's probably been kidnapped by someone, and at this point they're trying to pay $1 million to anyone to get her out of Honduras. So
is this Tammy we're talking to now? Or?
Tammy. No, I still have internet. These people on Mount Earth, they're nice.
Is it Tammy Lynn from Ted?
No.
Oh God, God.
You can find us on iTunes and Stitchers. Leave a review or a thumbs up. If you're listening via download, join our live chat at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays at epicpodcast.com/live. Hell, we might pull you into the show. Ask Ted. Epic Podcast is a member of Catalyst Gaming Media. Be sure to check out other podcasts, YouTubers, bloggers, webcomics, and more at catalystgamingmedia.com. Also, be sure to check out the forums on Catalyst's site and participate in the growing community there.
Before you go on, Joe,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say something that I kind of felt like I should have said now that I think about it at the top of the show. We are going to have some pretty big news for World of Podcasts for BlizzCon coming up. Probably in the next week or so, we probably have some pretty good news to share with y'all. We got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Pretty excited. So keep an eye out. We'll talk about it here. The Sundering, Seraphis can't stop talking about it. So
It makes me want to beat up somebody so I can go to BlizzCon.
Yeah, I've heard a couple little rumblings, so I'm curious as to what actually is going on. So it'll be interesting. So, but as far as the podcast, you can obviously find the podcast at epicpodcast.com. You can mail the show at epicpodcast@gmail.com. The YouTube channel for the show is youtube.com/theepicpodcast, where Lig's been doing a lot of stuff in the alpha. They're checking out the garrisons in particular, so you want to check out all of that. He'll continue to do that, I'm sure.
I hope.
You hope. It depends on how things go.
Right.
But still, it's good stuff. A lot of people don't utilize that site or that channel enough. Check out how it's a real good extension of the show. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/wildmardian. Pretty much just kind of getting rolling on the whole alpha videos thing. I did just release the one, so there'll be more coming as time goes on. Twitter is epic_podcast. Lignar is at Lignar, and I'm at Wildmardian, and of course Medi is at Medicakes. And what about Tet? Even though it's not he's not on the show, but we should give him a shout out. We should give him some love.
I'm on Twitter as at Ivory Tiger.
There we go. There you go. So yeah, hit him up because obviously he held his own and probably was more intelligent than I was during the show. So definitely say hi to Tet on Twitter.
And Tet does math during raid.
I do, and Alec has and Al the Mage have threatened to make that a bumper. But Joe, I just have one request.
Okay.
If you haven't done it already, I need a conga line video.
Oh, it's already done. Yeah, the Garrison hat.
Okay, I'll go look for it then.
Yep. I can put it in the chat. Yeah. Today, Garrison hat video just came out yesterday. Actually got featured on Wildhead too, so it was really nice.
Awesome. So. I will go look at that.
I actually found it during a live stream and did what I did for the video, a little extended version. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go look that one up too. So. Now, see, I just wish Xerxes was in the office so you could invite him to your garrison and then hear his commentary on the conga line.
He is in the alpha. He just got in the alpha the other day.
Oh, was he there? Was he in the video for the conga line?
He was not,
okay.
but I don't know. Can you invite people to your garrison? Do you even know? I haven't tested that.
You're supposed to be able to, but I don't know if they've implemented it yet.
Yeah,
originally, you were supposed to be able to invite friends and guildies and stuff. So.
Yeah, I know for a fact he'd have a lot of fun with it because somebody even said when I was live streaming it, Zarks would love this. So
right.
I'm very curious. He hasn't even told me if you've seen the video yet, so we'll see. But like I said, I want to make that teaser for the new Onward, and the fact that we're both in the alpha will give us a good opportunity to get some footage. So I'm excited.
Right. So, well, Medi, thanks for joining us. Even though you just said you would listen, but we're like, no. We can't have 3 consecutive episodes, even though we missed last week, right? But we had 2 without Joe. We can't have 3 consecutive episodes where we're missing somebody.
Oh, we can't? Is that the rule now?
It is now.
Thanks, Dad. Got it. Now it's on the. We have to make sure we put that up on the fridge, folks.
But
but
anyway,
house rules?
Yeah, it's house rules now.
That's right.
So. But Tet said in the chat room, put me in, coach. I'm like, all right. So anyway, Tet, thanks for jumping in and joining the boys trip to Draenor.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I'm kind of curious how
Savage.
much flack we might get on Twitter over that, but I still thought it was fun.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, thanks Joe shit. Thanks. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Skype. I'm looking at Skype, and on my screen it's Joe, then Tet, then Medi. So, so thanks Tet for joining us. It was a good time, and it's nice having somebody on that's got some slightly different insight to some of the stuff. So.
Yeah, we're sick of hearing Lig's opinion. So.
Right. Yeah, I know. I'm sick of hearing my opinion. So.
I appreciate it.
But anyway, chat room, thanks for coming. Sorry for going long, guys, but it's making up for last week. So.
Mm-hmm.
So
a couple things happened.
Yeah, a thing or two happened. So. Anyhow, I guess that's it for this week. So have fun a while, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Ah.
Next week is girls trip. Sweet.